about rejection of a guru, and one explanation.
Who wrote that?
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote that?
In, I think, your website.
Yeah, good.
So, and at one point I want more clarification, because there was like a commentary or a shloka by Jiva Goswami, I suppose, about the when the disciple is dissatisfied with his guru. Well, I spoke about this with some devotees, and they also showed me some other translations, like from Bhanu Swami and Satyanarayan Babaji.
Yeah, well, the same. I mean, somebody else went. Dhananjaya.
Krishna. No.
Yeah, Lord Krishna. He sent me the same question on the internet, and I sent him, and I haven't heard any reply. First, he's sending all these questions. First of all, I went to, and anybody can do it. You can go on the internet, go to Gaudiya Grantha Library. I think it's called Gaudiya Grantha Library, and they have all the books in Sanskrit. So I went to the Bhakti Sandarbha. It's all in Sanskrit. There's no English, but also Sanskrit verses, no translations. The 238, I think it's verse 238 is
yes.
in question. And there he's talking about, first he quotes Brahma Vaivarta Puran. And I just wrote a letter. Brahma Vaivarta Puran, which is, of course, interpolated quite a bit, and not so much accepted as we accept it and respect it, but it's not mukhya evidence for it. Whatever, if the Goswamis quote any particular shloka from Brahma Vaivarta Puran, then we can quote that one. But to go outside of what they quote, as my teacher taught me, and quote something else to rely on Brahma Vaivarta Puran, this is a mistake. None of the acharyas will use that for Praman. The Bhagavatam is a mukhya Praman, or the Upanishads, or Gita, or Mahabharata, or our own Goswami books. But when the Goswamis are quoting, they're always quoting Bhagavatam, Gita. You can see Bhakti Sandarbha is all Bhagavatam. Brahma Vaivarta. That guy was asking my Gurudev about Sanat Kumara Samhita, which has all kinds of things, Gopis, this, that. And none of that stuff is actually in the Sanskrit. It's been interpolated. And so I said, he was talking to Asakali Lila and Manjari, many things are there attributed and by different books, and people say, well, this is from Sanat Kumara Samhita. And my teacher made a nice point. He said, we can only quote this book because this is highly interpolated, which means altered and changed. The word interpolated means altered and changed. Somebody added something, somebody changed something 100 years later, this and that. So the original is not possible, clear. So only we can quote shlokas that are quoted by our acharyas. So there's Narottam Das Thakur and Prem Bhakti Chandrapit quotes like one meditation on Manjari Sarup, something like that, small meditation. And that's from Sanat Kumara Samhita. So we can quote that, one shloka. So that kind of minimizes the value. So Brahma Vaivarta Puran, there in Bhakti Sandarbha 238, says anyone who rejects their Diksha Guru, they go to hell. Something like that. And then, in the Sanskrit, it says Apavad. Apavad Vachan. Apavad Vachan. Vachan means words, like Vachan. Apavad means words of exception. And then, so that's the shloka, and then this is the tika. Because Bhakti Sandarbha, the whole book, is shlokas from Puranas and other Shastras, and some title given by, it's a collection, all the Sandarbhas. Sandarbha means collection, or Sangha, or Sandarbha. So then there's a title of that section, Guru, accepting Guru. Titles given by Jiva Goswami, then he gives so many Shastra Praman. Then sometimes he makes small comment, just like we don't have so much in BPT, but in the Sanskrit edition of Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Sanatana Goswami, who wrote it himself, he gives commentaries on many of the shlokas, which unless you have in Hindi or Bengali, you can't really see, because they're not translated in BPT. It's all mixed up with the other comments of the translator, which is mentioned in the introduction. So there, this is his comment on that verse. He says, Apavad, A-P-A-V-A-D-A, apavad vachan, words of exception. Vad means argument, apa means against. Words against this. There's an exception to this rule. Then he says, aparitoshena, aparitoshenapi. He said, if his shishya, tosha means satisfied. If he's not satisfied, if he's not aparitoshena, if he's not satisfied with his guru, aneka guru kriyate, he may accept any, aneka means any number. He may accept any number of gurus. And then it says, and something, kurute, siddhi kurute. And by doing that, when he accepts that new guru, it automatically accomplishes, because siddhi means to become accomplished. It says siddhi kurute, it automatically accomplishes, automatically he gives up the other guru. As soon as you're on one boat and you step into another boat, and you automatically have left that boat, and now you're sailing in a new boat. So that's the Sanskrit. So I sent that to Dhananjay. I said, show this to all your Lithuanian scholars that are arguing, well, this is correction. This is Krishna Kshetra's translation, but Satyarayan's translation is this. Satyarayan must not have this Sanskrit. He forgot this line or something. I didn't see that translation. But this is right from the Gaudiya Grantha library from the internet. In Sanskrit, by Jiva Swami class. And I discussed this with Advaita Das also. It's 2014, 5 years ago. That's all these articles, many of the articles I wrote were the fruit of my discussions. I had like 8-10 notebooks of them. Not small phone, like A4 size notebooks, my questions. 300-400 questions. I discussed with him, and then that was from 2013 to 15, and then with my Gurudev. For 4 years, and then he went to Goloka. I've been meeting him some 30 years, like many other questions I asked.